It's been kind of a long while since we spoke about Starfield on the channel, mostly just because there really hasn't been anything worthwhile to talk about or happen to the game since Shattered Space dropped. So for a while now, there has kind of been this question going around of like, is Bethesda done with Starfield? They did promise a while ago now, multiple years of updates and DLC, but after the, in my opinion, unfairly negative reception of Shattered Space, did Bethesda basically just say, alright, let's just forget this, move on, and focus on Elder Scrolls 6? Well, now we know that isn't the case, because recently Bethesda tweeted, I have no idea why they're still on that fucking platform, but sadly they are. Anyway, they tweeted the following. We know you're eager for an update and we truly appreciate your passion for Starfield. The team has been hard at work, and while we're not ready to share specific details just yet, we have a lot of exciting things planned for the game this year that we can't wait to talk about when the time is right. We're always listening and taking your feedback to heart. Thanks for being a part of this journey with us. Okay, so without trying to get all, like tinfoil hatty, what exactly does this mean? Well, of course it does confirm that, yes, they are still working on Starfield, which I kind of think is good. I kind of think that that's a good thing. While I did really enjoy the hundreds of hours I put into Starfield, it does, unfortunately, have a negative reception. And I think that it's good that they are wanting to continue to work on the game, but I will give more of my thoughts on that in just a moment. Now, if the current rumours are to be believed, there are talks of Microsoft debating putting Starfield on the PS5, which, let's be real, would stop a lot of the hate on its own just from doing that, because I do think that a lot of it does boil down to just dumbass console wars. And I say that as somebody who massively, and I mean massively, prefers my PlayStation over my Xbox. But also because you've got to keep in mind that a lot of people played Starfield for, maybe 10 hours when it launched, they didn't like it, and then they put the game down. So if you then go and put the game onto the PlayStation 5 with all of the updates, fixes, and improvements that the game has had since launch, I do honestly believe that yes, it will fix a lot of, or at least some of the negative reception that the game does have. Now, of course, we do need to talk about, well, what updates could they possibly be working on? Because if they're talking about real updates and not just like Creation Club bullshit, then what would that be? Now, I've been covering Starfield for three years now, which is kind of insane to think about, but anyway, and we've never even so much as heard of a rumor, or at least a reliable rumor, of another DLC. Now, I mean, of course, yes, we all assumed that Starfield would have multiple DLCs after Shattered Space, because every Bethesda game nowadays has multiple DLCs, but there is a lot that could, kind of be done here in DLCs to improve Starfield further. You can do smaller things such as a space station builder. I actually made a video about this a long time ago now, and it's still something that I would absolutely love to see in the game. But I do think that what Starfield needs, what it really needs, is just a lot of base game improvements and honestly just changes. I think, first things first, we need more interesting places to explore. Even though I did love Starfield, again, I've said that 100 times, you all know I really hated the exploration in the game, especially compared to, Skyrim or Fallout 4 or Fallout 3 or Oblivion, whatever. And I think that it does need an entire rework. How you do that, I have no idea. But what I'm basically saying is, look, if you update the base game to give us more things to explore, a couple of new, fun quests maybe, and then you release a new DLC, maybe you put Starfield on the PS5 with the DLC attached, the day that this DLC drops, and if that DLC is good, it could turn around a lot of the negative opinions on Starfield, because thousands of people on the PS5 would play it and be like, oh, this actually isn't that bad, or oh, this is, a lot better than it used to be, and stuff like that. Much like how it was Phantom Liberty that made a lot of people come back to Cyberpunk and think, damn, this game is actually great now. I hated Cyberpunk when I first played it because it was such a mess, and now it's easily a top 5 RPG ever for me. And yeah, okay, of course, it is two very different things, right? Cyberpunk was hated at launch because the game was very buggy. Genuinely, I've never played a more buggy game in my life than Cyberpunk on launch day, and because there was a lot of things promised that was missing from the game, but then, you know, like people just sort of came back to it with Phantom Liberty with the mindset of, okay, I know that the stuff that they promised isn't in the game now, but let me just go back to it and try and have fun with it, kind of thing, right? Whereas with Starfield, I think it mostly gets hate because people expected like a normal Bethesda experience with the cool factions and the exploration, etc. And for the most part, we just sadly didn't get that. So it's a lot harder for Starfield to have a big turnaround than, say, a Cyberpunk did, because they have to do more than just fix all the bugs, right? For the most part, Starfield is pretty much a bug-free game, though. Like, I have never really had any major problems playing Starfield. I can actually only even think of 2 examples of experiencing like really bad bugs playing Starfield, and they were all fixed within like a couple of weeks. But hey, look, they did finally confirm it, that yes, Starfield support is going to continue, and honestly, I just don't really know how people are going to feel about this. I personally am kind of happy that they're continuing on with supporting Starfield, but even me, someone who absolutely loved the game when it came out, someone who has put like hundreds of hours into it, I'm sitting here wondering, is this the best move? Maybe it is time to just sort of let it go and focus all of your energy onto Elder Scrolls 6, not because I want Starfield to end, not at all, but mostly just because I want Elder Scrolls 6 to be the best game that it can possibly be, which is going to be very difficult for Bethesda to do and meet expectations anyway, and I just want it to get here as fast as it can possibly get here. And if you're going to continue supporting Starfield, if that has a bad effect on Elder Scrolls 6 or even Fallout 5, then yeah, I would honestly rather that they just let Starfield go, despite how much I did love and enjoy my time with the game. Look, it is really difficult for me to kind of like put it into words, but what I'm trying to say is, like, if I was in charge of Bethesda, right, and the team came to me and they said, okay, look, we can either go all hands on deck onto our next game, which is Elder Scrolls 6, or we can put most of our team on Elder Scrolls 6 and just have a few people still working on Starfield, I'm probably going to say no, just go all hands on deck with Elder Scrolls 6. Because that's the game that everybody wants, right? That's the game that's going to make millions. That's the game that people have been waiting for over a fucking decade at this point. That's our most anticipated game. And it needs to be like the best game that we have ever made. But, you know, if you subscribe to me, you'll remember I put out a video a couple of weeks ago, or probably longer than 2 weeks ago at this point, talking about how I genuinely just think that Elder Scrolls 6 is doomed either way, and there is absolutely nothing anyone, you know, like us, Microsoft, or Bethesda can do about it. So yeah, I would definitely just put absolutely all of my team, money, resources onto Elder Scrolls 6 to make it as good as humanly possible. But anyways, look, that is going to do it for me today. Let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please do leave it with a like if you would be so kind. And if you do want to stay up to date on everything Bethesda, along with coverage on many other RPGs, consider subscribing. This is absolutely the place for you. And lastly, as always, a huge thank you to all of our channel members. I have a new members only video coming soon. It might even come tonight, I'm not sure yet. So keep an eye out for that. And thank you so much for your support as always. Peace.